United States, the recent surge in gas prices has become a hot topic, and it's not just about the numbers flashing on the gas station signs. Politics is deeply intertwined with these rising costs, adding more to an already pressing issue. Americans are really feeling the pinch in their wallets. Prices are going up, whether it's at the grocery store or when they fill up their gas tanks. This makes everyday decisions tougher because there's less money to go around. But just who is in control of these markets? Who decides the prices? What are politicians doing about any of this? And do elections really have an influence on gas prices? From policymakers debating solutions to politicians pointlessly pointing fingers, the landscape is buzzing with discussions on how to address the pain felt by consumers. In this video, we'll explore the connections between politics and gas prices. We'll be diving into the factors that contribute to the highs and lows and examining the impact of political decisions on the wallets of everyday Americans, and what really drives the price at the pump. With elections around the corner, the question becomes, do elections influence gas prices? The short answer is yes. Historically, gas prices tend to drop during election years compared to the previous year. For instance, in 2012, an election year, the average gas price was about $3.60 per gallon, compared to $3.83 in 2011. Similarly, in 2016, gas prices averaged around $2.14 per gallon, down from $2.43 in 2015. And in 2020, despite the pandemic, the average gas price was $2.17 per gallon, down from $2.60 in 2019. These drops are often due to political pressure as a temporary measure to lower prices to help sway votes in their favor. Politicians often make big promises about lowering gas prices, and sometimes they actually make it happen. But these are usually just short-term fixes. Long-term solutions require tackling the root causes like overdependence on fossil fuels and corporate greed. Another factor is the unusually hot summers we've had in the Northern Hemisphere. Summertime is when most Americans travel on vacations. This causes a rise in demand, which is another problem. The extreme heat causes problems for refineries, which are the places where oil is turned into gasoline. The high temperatures reduce their production capacity because it is harder to operate safely and efficiently in such hot conditions. The higher costs of gas can be attributed to several routine factors, including refinery maintenance, the switch to summer gasoline, and rising demand. Refineries often take advantage of milder weather conditions during spring and fall to perform necessary maintenance. AAA's national spokesperson, Andrew Gross, stated, "Refineries are so dangerous, you have to maintain these places as there are a million things that can go wrong. They don't like extreme heat or cold, so spring and fall are a sweet spot for refineries and workers. You don't want anyone dealing with petrochemicals in 100 degrees. Adding to these domestic issues are geopolitical factors such as Israel's conflict with Hamas on the Gaza Strip, which has pushed oil prices to 6-month highs. The concerns about Iranian retaliation for an earlier Israeli attack on an Iranian consulate in Syria have kept investors in the global commodities market on edge. The head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy, Patrick DeHaan, highlighted in a report back in April 2024 stating, with Iran's attack on Israel over the weekend, the stakes couldn't have been higher for a major potential impact on oil and gasoline prices. Additionally, geopolitical tensions extend beyond the Middle East. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has urged Ukraine to refrain from further attacks on Russian oil refineries, warning of the risks to global energy markets due to it being a petrostate. This appeal underscores the delicate balance in the global oil supply chain, which can be easily disrupted by military actions and conflicts. What exactly are petrostates? These are countries that make a lot of money by selling oil and gas, like Saudi Arabia and Russia. America buys a lot of oil from them, which helps keep their economy strong. But when these countries decide to play games with their oil supply or engage in wars, it messes things up for everyone. President Biden has attempted to stand up to these countries, especially with what's going on in Ukraine. But we can see how well that's going. One reason gas prices are high is because some of these petrostates have decided to cut oil production through the end of 2023. Even though China's economy is not doing great right now, they are still stockpiling on a lot of oil. Clay Seigel, director of global oil services at Rapid Energy Group, explained that China wants to make sure it has enough oil to keep its factories and transportation running smoothly. In 2024, Americans had to dig deeper into their pockets when they went to fill up their cars. But you might think it's because the cost of oil has gone up a lot, right? Actually, the price of a barrel of oil is about $25 less than it was 10 years ago, standing at around $85 now. So why are we paying almost double for gas compared to back then? And it's not just gas that's costing us more. Basic things like groceries are getting pricier too. And guess who's behind it? The giant companies like Kroger and Cargill are hiking up prices, not because they need to cover higher costs or pay their workers, but because they see a chance to stuff their pockets even more. These price jumps are hitting the most vulnerable Americans the hardest, all for the sake of short-term profits. Then there are the oil companies themselves. They're making crazy amounts of money, even when events like the pandemic slowed down travel. Companies like Chevron, ExxonMobil, BP, and Shell are breaking records for profits. But how? By charging us way too much for gas, even though the cost of getting oil has gone down. And guess what? They've got friends in high places looking out for their interests. But while these companies get richer, we end up paying more and more every time we fill up our tanks. In the end, it all comes down to one common factor: greed. Greed from the big oil corporations, greed from the bought and incompetent politicians, and greed from world leaders seeking to expand more control. The big companies that control a lot of the market, like the ones in charge of fossil fuels, are making a lot of money by charging higher prices. Meanwhile, regular people like us end up paying the high price, all while the politicians in their back pocket just look the other way. But there are some measures you can take. Automotive companies are moving in a greener step with EV or hybrid vehicles. Hybrids are a viable option, even as sports cars. However, electric cars still have a ways to go to be considered efficient. Another way to prepare is to be aware of the gas stations in your area. Shop around for the best pricing options. Use apps that allow you to find cheap gas prices locally. Find low hours when the pumps are most open, like during the weekday. And be aware of changes from seasonal costs. You may want to stock up on gas using gas containers. Just remember to use it all within 3 to 6 months. While steps are taken to address this issue, for now it's up to you to take action and find ways to keep money in your pockets. The politicians that you vote for won't do it for you, but with some diligence you'll be able to make some cost-effective moves when it comes to saving at the pump, and you'll be glad you did. Do you have other ideas on bringing change or saving costs? Please let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to keep updated on future videos. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, keep those engines roaring and save a few bucks in your wallet.